Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am here on this Wednesday. Woohoo, we made it on our scheduled day for my next update video. This is actually going to be my last update video for the year, which you already know because that's the title of the episode anyway, I'm pretty sure. Unless something super hilarious comes up and I change the title. Anyway, yeah, today is the last update of the year. It is not, however, my last video of the year. And so tomorrow I am going to do a Stitch With Me video, and I'm going to do the year in review tag, which the community, the FlossTube community, created last year that I put together and put out in the world. And so I'm going to do a Stitch With Me and go through my year in review and then have a photo montage of my finishes for the year because I thought that would be fun. And so yeah. So I just want to take a real quick second here to welcome anybody who has never seen me before. If this is your first time, then thank you so much for checking me out. I hope that you stick around. I hope you enjoy. And if you're a returning viewer, then thank you so much for your continued support. Much appreciated. So this, as you can tell by the timestamp, is going to be a quick one. I only have 2 projects I've worked on since we last spoke about 6 days ago. And I have some acquisitions, gifty things as well as purchases. And that's it. Planning is going to be pretty basic because I talked way too much about planning last week. That was a little insane. Thanks to everybody who watched all of that. Yeah, that was pretty nuts. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. I don't have any Q&A. I haven't had any legitimate questions for quite a while here. So yeah. So let's start with the works in progress, what I've worked on these last 6 days. So Thursday rather, that I spoke to you, I had just started the first project for the Full Coverage Fanatics group, the quarterly seasonal Sal Winter. And I was working on, I had just started, this is Snow Castle by Randall Spangler and Heaven and Earth Designs. And I've got all of the snowflake needle minders for this one. And you'll be seeing a preview here of what this looked like last time, although, to be totally honest, you can't see a whole lot, and you still can't see a whole lot. But anyway, I had the first 3 blocks done, and you can see how long this fabric is, but it's not very wide. So I made some really good progress. Ooh, catching the light there, you can see the blue versus the black. That's nice because, like, here it looks like basically all black with some spots of white. But there you can kind of see the trees coming in through the blue. So that is 823 and 310 for the most part. And then I'm starting to get down here, which is some of the lighter blue, which is really great. It's much easier to tell the difference between the colors there. And then you can see some little spots of snow where they've collected sort of at the joints on the tree limbs. Loving this, absolutely loving it. I've almost made it to the far right side of page 1. I have 2 diagonals left to do to reach that right side diagonal, or that right side, excuse me, of the page. But just having a ball so far. So I set my goal to get 1,800 stitches before I put this down, and the reason for that is that I have started 4 Hades this year, which is insane. Like, that's nuts. And I had 1,700 stitches combined on the other 3. So I put in 600 on Avarice, I put in 600 on Alice in a Dolly Dream, and I put 500 in on Bridge Where She Waits by Stephanie Pullman Law. And so I wanted to get to 1,800 on this one, so I have more stitches in this project than the other 3 combined, which I think is pretty wild. But it was so quick because there's very few colors in this, and I'm not into really much of anything yet. So So there's that. This fabric, by the way, is 25 count Easy Count Lugana from Zweigart. Oh, it's got the 10 by 10 gridded blocks. Taking some getting used to, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it's going really good. So I was able to stitch, let's see, last Thursday, obviously, and Friday. Friday I stitched quite a bit. And then Saturday we had our first Christmas party at, I want to say around noon that day. So I stitched for a very little bit Saturday morning, just to make sure that I got to the 1800 so that I reached that goal. And then my plan was to work on Santa Coming to Town by Stitchrovia or Satsuma Street. No, Stitchrovia. Over Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And I don't have that here because I actually never touched it. So Christmas Eve, Sunday Christmas Eve, we drove up to my mom's and we spent the night at my mom's. And I thought that there might be enough downtime for me to stitch, but there really wasn't, visiting with family and everything going on there. There just wasn't really great opportunity for stitching. So I took the project with me, but I never ended up pulling it out. And then I had a really, really rough Christmas Eve night. So my mom, real quick little story here. My mom has 2 Labradoodles. And we decided to take Thor and spend the night with Thor at her house. And Thor loves playing with the dogs. But the problem is that Thor doesn't know how to relax if he's not at home. And I think that especially adding on having the other 2 dogs in the house where he wanted to play nonstop, it was just a recipe for disaster. So everybody goes to bed, and we were thinking, all right, we're going to take Thor, we're going to go to bed. He's been playing most of the day, so surely he's exhausted. He's going to crash. And he did for about 10 minutes, and then he got up, and he's whimpering at the door. So the long story short is that I stayed up with Thor all night. He took 5, 10, 15-minute naps. But then he was up, he was whining, he was scratching at doors. He's very handsy. My sweet, loving, adorable bulldog. He's very handsy. And so some dogs, they try to get into a room and they can't, and so they sit there and they whimper. And I would let him do that. Except that he's handsy, and so he's punching at the door, knocking on the door, trying to get to my mom's bedroom and, more importantly, to the dogs. So I spent all night until about 4:30 when my mom actually got up. She's an early bird. A really, dark 30 early bird. Then she took over and she watched him and he played with the dogs, and I was able to finally go to sleep for about 2 hours. Yeah. So that was really great. So Monday morning, Christmas morning, we had Christmas and with my mom and my brother. And then Christmas that afternoon, we came back to our area. We visited with Danny's grandmother, and then we went over to Danny's parents' house and had Christmas there. And so we didn't get home until about 11, and I crashed so hard. Straight zombie. I was out. I was so exhausted. So there was no stitching. That's the long story short, is that there was no stitching either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Which is okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. So, because I had reached my goal on Snow Castle, I decided to go back to what I was really feeling. And that is, of course, The Lady of the Flag by Mirabilia. A.k.a. Lady of Gratitude, a.k.a. she's a foxy lady. So, I am going to insert a preview here of what she looked like last time. I had just finished up the blue section of the flag, and then I got to work on her yesterday for Boxing Day, and then I've worked on her a little bit today. So I haven't done a ton, but what I've done is pretty significant. And there's also a preview here of what she will look like finished. But let's just, you know, address the elephant in the room. She has a face. Isn't that great? I love it. So I will insert the picture here, but I did a before and after of her face because Backstitch changes everything with this. I did the skin 1/1 because that's my jam, and the Backstitch just makes this. Let me stick the foam core behind because this fabric is pretty see-through. There we go. Isn't it fabulous? I love her expression. It's somber, but it's determined. She's strong. She's a strong face. It's not RBF, but it's not, like, she's not somebody to be messed with. Which is perfect because Nora created this following September 11th, 2001, so, and yeah, I'm in love. I can't get over how much I love this. I'm really impressed with how it's stitching up. So, fabric is 32 count Belfast in Vintage Whisper by Zweigart. It's the printed line, so it's colored on the front and plain on the back. Needle minders, Christmas Fox. I might swap that out for my woodcut fox because Christmas. And then American flag woodcut and the bulldog because of course that's with me everywhere. So yeah, loving this. Just really, really just a lot of fun to stitch. So that will help us segue into plans a little bit. I think I'm just going to stitch on this for the rest of the year. So what, 5 days? Got 5 days left? Yeah, something like that. Because I just want to. That's pretty much what it boils down to. I just want to. And I can't stop looking at her. Yeah. So that's really it for the plans. I'm gonna work on Lady of the Flag for the rest of the year. Let's see. We have a Christmas party Friday, and that's gonna be probably most of the day, so there won't be much stitching, if any at all, to be honest, on Friday. And then Saturday is Danny's birthday, and so we're going out to dinner for his birthday, but I'll be able to stitch, and we're not, as far as I know, this could be a surprise, but I don't think we're doing anything for New Year's Eve. So I'm gonna park my butt in my stitching chair and stitch, and that will be it. So that's it for plans. So let's move on to acquisitions. This is going to be the fastest video in the history of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. This is pretty wild. Okay, so we'll start most recent. So just before I started filming, we're getting ready to start filming, I was on Facebook and I saw this design, and I had to immediately go get it. And it is by a Russian designer, Ekaterina Volkova, I believe is her name, and forgive me if I'm messing that up, but I believe that that's her name. And her website is forstitch.ru, forstitch.ru. It is a Russian website. I have no idea if there is anything where you can translate to English to navigate this website, but it is a very familiar format. And so I was able to stumble my way through to figure out how to order this design for incredibly cheap. Incredibly cheap. For the amount of detail that goes into this design, it's incredibly cheap. I don't know the name of it because it's in Cyrillic. And I meant to translate that, but I didn't. But it's this gorgeous, it looks like a little dragon, and he's like laying down taking a nap, and there's a girl or a fairy or somebody, and she's got like punk rock chick haircut, and she's reading a book while sitting on this dragon's neck. And it's so cute, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. So you'll be seeing a preview here of what this will look like finished. Payment is through PayPal, and the form for purchasing from her website is very standard. It's name and general information. So I will link the website in the description box if you want to go check it out. There are tons of designs that she has put out that are just beautiful that I want. But I settled for this one. It was $5, and so yeah, had to get that. And okay, so now let's talk about what just arrived in the mail this morning. It might have arrived yesterday or the day before or something, but we went to the mailbox today. And that is, of course, my Color and Cotton Threads of the Month. And this is my color palette. Like, yeah, this is me. So here's what we've got. This one here is Powder Room, and it is gray and pink. It's like a bluey steel gray and pink. Very good. This one here is Eggplant, bluey purple. Stunning. This one here is Midnight Blue. Gorgeous dark deep blue. Very tonal. Love that. This one here is Barnwood, and I'm obsessed with this color. It's like a gray brown. I love a good gray brown. How boring am I? I love gray brown. And this last one is Chiffon. Skin tone pink. So if you are a person who does, or at least Caucasian skin tone pink, oops. If you are a person who does the thread conversions and uses Color and Cotton, this is a really good one for Caucasian skin tones. And there's that. That Barnwood is almost purpley. I love that. Can you see the purple? No, not really. Okay, so let's talk real quickly about what I got for Christmas. So I don't really have like a way of introducing this. I've already shared it on Instagram, and so if you're on Instagram, then you may have already seen it. But my wonderful husband heard me, and he got in contact with his family, his parents, his younger brother, and his aunts, and they all went in and got me this. And I am opening, they said save this for last, and I went, oh, what's that mean? And so I opened the box, and it's a huge box. It's like a garment box, so I have no idea what it is. And then I open it, and this is what I see. Poison Garden. So this is the full kit from European Cross Stitch for Chatelain's Poison Garden Hortus Venenum. Words. Just don't have the words to be able to even comprehend what happened here. Of course, I told Danny that it was the only thing that I wanted materialistically for Christmas. It was like the only stitched thing that I wouldn't, number one, be able to, but nor would I necessarily buy this for myself. But he did it anyway. He did it anyway. And I'm just over the moon. So, real quick thing. This is just the bead pack and the fabric. It is a 31 by 31 cut of 28 count cashel linen. And the threads, I got the silks. I'm in the process of kitting up the whole thing, and there are approximately 30 Karen water lilies for this design. Yeah, this one is riddled with Karen water lilies, and most of them are pretty heavily variegated, which I just adore. I can't wait to sink my teeth in. But that's in the other room, and it's like a whole mess of things going on right now. So I will show that when I get it all kitted up. So then there has been this conversation about fabric and what to stitch on. So I have talked for months that my plan was to stitch this on Caradwen by Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And that's not going to work for a couple of reasons. Number one, it will take too long to get here, and I want to start this on New Year's Day. I want this to be my New Year, New Start. Number two, I am a linen nut, and so I would need it to be light enough, like I see it in my head, but knowing Caradwen and knowing what it looks like once it's dyed on linen, it's too dark, and so there's too much left up to chance to that. So then I thought, well, maybe I can convince Danny to go to In Stitches to find something. Maybe In Stitches has a fabric that I can use instead. But I didn't really want to do that because, again, I didn't want to go into this committed to finding the perfect fabric and then being disappointed because I couldn't find it. Then I had the thought of maybe dyeing the fabric that came in the kit, because I have a couple of Rit dyes, and I also, in that large pot there, I had purchased some dyes to attempt some yarn dyeing, and this was north of a year ago. I thought that I was going to start dyeing yarn. So I bought some dyes to test it out, but then never did that. But I'm afraid that it's not going to go well. And I just want this to look right. I just want this to look good. And I talked about this last time, maybe the episode before, shortly after Martina had passed, just about her opinions of hand-dyed fabrics for her designs, and how she just preferred the basics to let the design shine. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna stitch it on the 28 count antique white cashel linen. Then I don't have to worry about dye shrinking, and these Tila beads. I'm gonna open this. Do you see all these beads? There's so many. There's like north of 3,000 beads on this project. And this one uses Tila beads, which are do you see those little squares? Those square beads are the Tilas, and that's the reason why this is on 28 count as opposed to 32 count, because those are a fixed size and they will not fit on a 32 count. They won't fit in their allotted space. And I don't believe that they're any smaller than that. So I was worried about the hand-dyed process and what that might do to the shrinking of the fabric, and then these Tilas might not fit. Like I want this to turn out right, and I don't want to stress over any of it. So I'm going with the plain but basic boring antique white cashel. My Frosty Knot Garden is on plain antique white Belfast, and it sings on that fabric. It absolutely sings on it. It's got the stark background. And so I'm hoping that that is the case for this. I'm hoping that this will let those heavily variegated threads shine, and that everything will turn out perfect. I'm okay with a basic fabric if the design is supported by it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the boring one. I am going to trim it down so that I can fit it on my big Millennium, but yeah, I'm just going to go with the basic. And I'm sure it will be fantastic. So excited. I'm so excited to start it. New Year's Day, midnight, I'm putting in the first stitches. 12:01, whatever. But I've got a lot of work to do because, like I said, like 30 Karen water lilies. It's nuts. So that is just about it. I have no finishes this week. I'm so sad because I was on a really good streak with having a finish every week. However, I have an FFO this week. I'm so pleased. So, for my brother for Christmas, I decided to gift him my Pretty Little New York. My brother and I have some pretty fantastic memories of New York City together, and hopefully there will be more in the future. And so last year I stitched Pretty Little New York by Satsuma Street and decided to frame that and gift it to him, and framed it myself but with an asterisk. Because Danny helped a lot. I'm not gonna lie. And it is also, my brother watches, and so I won't sort of spill all the beans here, but it is also not, like, I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional framer. It was pretty much my first experience ever of framing anything, and so it is not perfect. There are some adjustments, but got it in there, and I love the way it looks. And so I'm going to insert a picture here of it. It's funny, he opened it on Christmas morning, and I was like, I need to take a picture of that because I need to submit it as proof to show specifically McKenna that I do finish things. I promise I do. It's just rare. It's just not often. Except in 2018. In 2018, I'm finishing some things. I'm going to make an effort to empty that bin of finishes. One last thing before I go, I just wanted to take a second to shout out a couple of ladies. They are some little ladies who are not on FlossTube, and their names are Layla, Heather, and Morgan. They are my nieces. I just found out recently that my sister Ashley, she watches my channel sometimes, and the girls get all excited because they know somebody on YouTube, and so I just wanted to shout them out, give them a little bit of spotlight, and say hi. So hey girls, and it was really good to see you guys on Christmas. I hope that you had a wonderful Christmas. I hope that everybody watching this had a wonderful Christmas or a wonderful holiday, whatever you celebrate, whatever you choose not to celebrate. I hope that it was spent in good company. And so with that, I am actually going to head out. I'm at 31 minutes, but I know it's going to be way less than that because I've got some stuff to cut out. I'm going to head out, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to do that Stitch With Me video tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Okay, y'all, that's all for me. See you later, and always, be kind.